Ah, how do you feel about the last 2 years of peace, love, and joy, Sam?
Welcome. Welcome back to my battle zone, Denard.
It never stops. I never left the fucking battle zone. It's cool. It's cool. I feel like the world is becoming the battle zone. Welcome to Weeaboo Hell.
It's
It's
Weeaboo
Weeaboo
Hell.
Hell. It would have been a really bad omen if I'd forgotten that, by the way. Like, you would have known you were just watching America's Choice Walmart store version of Weeaboo Hell if I'd forgotten. I think our only catchphrases were that and hating the police.
Man, I fucking forgot, so I'm really glad that one of us remembered.
You have content, and I remember insane nonsense. And I think that is cohesively one functional host or one functional human, some kind of animal.
There's also the fact that I have content, but only about insane nonsense.
Which one of us is the mitochondria in that formation?
I mean, really, you, because you edit this.
Sweet, I love being the powerhouse of the cell.
It's,
You know, they did tell me in biology class that the powerhouse of the cell was up at 3 a.m. Not because someone makes it stay up at 3 a.m. All of this is doable at 2 p.m. under the light of God. But it just chooses that every time.
God, what the fuck else is in there? Ribosome? Yeah. This, like, your boy Ribosome was up until about, 2:30 or so, not even doing anything productive, just playing fucking CRPGs.
Oh, great, great. And the cell wall has that not JRPG, fucking visual novel addiction. I guess it could be addicted to a JRPG, but that's expensive. They cost more. You would probably be a smarter person at the end of it. I think there's just a lot more quality control going on in that genre.
Wait, hold on. Do gacha games count as JRPGs at this point? I don't know. Where is it gone? I haven't paid attention. I've stayed the fuck away.
I'm sure there
I'm
are
playing a game
some
that plays
crossover
like
points.
fucking Baldur's Gate. That is not, in fact, Baldur's Gate. Wait, should we be talking about weeb shit at this point?
Okay, yeah, we should talk about weeb shit. It's a big time in our lives. It has been 2 years, and one thing I want to underline going into the weeb shit is that it has been the amount of time in a standard anime time skip.
It's funny because I know what you look like now, and I know what I look like now, and I don't. We seem to have missed an opportunity because I don't think either of our character designs have changed too much, besides the fact that I'm a little bit cooler with wearing shorts now. No, wait, no, shit, I got a fuck ton of tattoos. Never mind. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Sam, who doesn't look any different, is covered in tattoos and lost about 10 pounds, so really this is exact same template. Meanwhile, I am sort of IV dripped to this protein powder thing. It's really mentally and physically healthy. I really suggest it for everyone. My shoulder every week cries out in joy. Big time in our lives. He moved up to Inwood. There's some exciting personal news potentially. I had that book come out. Everything abridged. Buy it or, I don't know, fucking steal it. I just have an ego. I want you to see it. I don't care how you really get it. Your one sale, I'm not your mom. But take a look at that book.
It is Denard sliding you a pebble. Please glance at the pebble. Behold the pebble. It's yours now.
Spectate at the pebble. And at this point, we could grow up, but I'm kind of thinking, fuck that. When I'm 60 years old with an office in the middle of nowhere, maybe I'll have one of those awards they give you for being like a black writer in complete sentences. I want to just come to the podium, look the world in the eye, and say isekai is fucking garbage.
It's closer to nuclear waste, right? Because it has infected other genres too. It has infected. Yeah, here's what fucking happened while I was gone: is isekai kind of quieted down a little bit, and then the worst parts of it got into other shit. Which, great, fucking phenomenal. Love to see that. Love to see things be influenced by other things.
It's really wonderful. I think when it comes to the, I don't know, isekai kind of influence proliferation, I'm reminded in an extremely disgusting, unprintable way of certain diseases involving, cell replication, cancer, and how you will think that your cancer is improving or going into remission, when what it has really been doing is sort of going on a field tour of your body.
You thought it was stomach cancer. Just kidding. It's now lymphoma.
Eggs. Sometimes my left brain processes a joke before my right brain catches up to the fact that it was a hammer. And that was one of those moments. So that was good. That is one thing that has happened in the last 2 years.
There's this thing where, what's the new blood in fucking fantasy anime? That Frieren? I don't know.
People are really into Frieren and Dungeon Meshi.
Morgan's really into Dungeon Meshi.
Dungeon Meshi is one of those things where I think it may not even be it. It's just me. I just see the concept as them cooking and exchanging feelings in a fantasy dungeon, and my brain sort of just drifts off into the stars. Just find my people, find its meaning, find purpose. It's like that novel Star Maker, which is asking way too much of someone's nerd power level to be listening to a podcast called Weeaboo Hell and have ever touched fucking 1940s sci-fi, but there you go.
I have a much more, what would you call it? Closer to the ground problem with Frieren, with just stuff in general. Man, I love this. It's been 2 years, and I'm just like right the fuck back to being a fucking hater.
I think you've been hater training. I think it's stronger.
Are there new listeners? Oh, what's their first impression of Sam going to be? Oh, he fucking hates stuff. Cool. It's another guy who fucking hates stuff. But, no. I'm like, I spent a whole long time, these past 2 years trying not to be a hater, and it sucked. So, I'm back. Character classes as a diegetic element in a fantasy anime is a fucking lame idea, and it was in Isekai, and it is in Frieren and Dungeon Meshi and whatever the fuck else.
I used to call that kind of thing an insult, but I think that's almost a little self-indulgent, because it's not an insult when someone vomits into a trash can like next to you on a subway platform.
It's like, why don't you want me to care? Why don't you want me to care about this show? Why is this a let's play? Fuck off. I don't want to. I don't want to watch.
So I kind of want to bring it to what I guess I would call our core thing here today, which is another thing happening. I'm not going to call it a good or bad trend overall, but the product is fucking weird, which is just Twitter stunt manga is a big thing. It eats half of like the submissions on, I don't know, various forums and subreddits, and my favorite thing that has come out of it is this infinite yawning chasm of human loneliness.
Before we get into that, I had no fucking idea that Twitter manga was... I didn't know what the hell it was. I still am not entirely sure myself. I have never maintained a Twitter for longer than about 2 weeks. I started hating it almost immediately, and then just like, wow, what a bad idea. What a bad idea this all was. I'm not going to do it anymore.
It is generally a good idea to nuke your entire web presence other than your subscription to Extra Evil, a lovely newsletter I run, but I see where you're coming from there. The term is a little broad. Essentially, it's a bit like the webcomic boom. Essentially, it's a lot of independent creators have an easier time throwing stuff out there. People are having an easier time finding it. And that is well and good, and I'm happy for them. And it's just fascinating that a lot of it sucks in the same way. There is a specific vector of shit that thrives here, which...
Is it surprising? I don't know. Like, what's interesting about just a whole bunch of folks with, no editors sucking ass?
It is a striking defense of publishing standards, practices, traditions, whatever you want to call it. I spent maybe 15 years of my life decrying various gatekeepers, calling them the wizards of hell, the people that are holding back the human spirit or whatever. I picked out a specific one. A, because I think it embodies the type of loneliness that defines a lot of this work. And B, because I read 2 pages of it and I was already laughing.
It took me about as long. Maybe a little bit longer before I was suspicious, I guess. I approached it with this suspicion. And then finally it just, I'll let you introduce the premise. I'm gonna get ahead of myself here. Go. Do the thing. Do the thing.
The premise is pretty simple. A man born without a personality but with an occupation, which is sort of a narrow premise tradition internationally, really.
Oh boy, do you guys want to guess? Do you guys want to guess what it is?
He's not a student.
He's an artist, almost like the guy who drew this manga.
You could almost imagine that isn't the dumb part.
That's not. No, I should be giving this guy more credit. The dude who did the manga, not the main character, but
I feel you. There is kind of an evil genius to coming up to the hooks for these things. The hook this time is that he is confined, not misery style, because that's a story where like things happen and matter, but he is confined by what seems to be a crazed fan, but she is also a high school girl. Again, that fucking star maker thing happens where my stupid laughing consciousness is thrown through pretty much 100 identical moments I've had over the last 20 years of tolerating anime.
You look at it, you're a couple chapters into this thing, and then with the sheer number of hours that you have spent reading manga and watching anime in your life, it's almost like, I don't know, identifying a kind of wildlife. Even if you've not seen this particular species before, you kind of know, it's like, oh, it must be, this is a type of wren, something like that.
I like that, yeah. There's kind of a safari element to this nonsense. It's a bit like the taste in music you develop over time.
That's
and
a better metaphor.
You hear something and your brain says, okay, there's a little bit of crossover thrash in here. There are some roots in, I don't know, old school hip hop, or, there's a bit of a G-funk thing here. Oh, here is screaming loneliness. Here is the latent pederasty. Oh, here is the desperation for internet attention. You learn all these tones. You get your ear training in there eventually.
Yeah, that's a better metaphor than the one that I came up with. B, there's this question that I had throughout the beginning of this thing, and I was trying to figure out how I wanted to interpret it, right? Mm-hmm. I was trying to figure out, is this a manga for NEETs, or is this a manga that's making fun of NEETs? Am I in on the joke? Is the author in on the joke? Are we sort of like winking at one another from across the table, just while... I don't know. I finished it and I still don't know.
It is a hideous uncertainty principle to have to deal with. I should bring in the title here. But first I want to play a little game with it. Can you tell me the title of this without looking it up?
No, fuck you. Fuck you for asking.
If I ever make those little promo cards again, fuck you for asking is going on the front.
No, I fucking can't. It has one of those long-ass titles the length of a goddamn sentence that is now so regular. Oh,
that is true. In fact, that is a defining thing with all the online things, and I'm of two minds about it. Okay, first off, the title that's just going to go around is The Story of a Manga Artist Confined by a Strange High School Girl.
You fucking coward, come up with something clever.
I guess we've left that behind. We don't believe in it anymore. We don't believe in titles anymore. I want to separate the world of SEO and the titles for works, and I think we need a compromise. Since we've given up on proper subtitles anyway, can we just punt everything will have a proper title and an SEO title?
I hate this. I was listening to the last episode that we recorded before R2 here, right? I was listening to it and I noted the date, and it was, I think, yeah, it was June of 2022. A thing happened a month later, which is, oh, not even a month later, maybe a couple of weeks later, which is I turned 30, and now apparently I am 2 generations older than I was 2 years ago, because I'm just getting mad at new shit now. Wait, no. I was getting mad at new shit before. Maybe I'm just getting madder at new shit.
You have had this disposition since you were maybe about 11. Now there is a stock explanation for it. Now somebody that encounters you in the wild can say, oh, I have some context on who this person is. They're hitting a certain age. But if it makes you feel any better, which I'm not sure it fucking will, I do remember being in a high school cafeteria, and there's just some conversation about, what was it, Bleach knockoff du jour? I think fucking Fairy Tail is kicking off. That's a One Piece knockoff or whatever. And you did, to their face, go through one of those, what is this shit kind of rants.
Oh, fuck, what was it? It wasn't Fairy Tail, I don't think. It was... Oh my god, that was half my fucking life ago. I don't remember.
In terms of your life, this is an R2. We're in R3, or... What's that mutated stillbirth that they stuck to the end of Dragon Ball Super? Okay, so that was my review of Dragon Ball Super. We could skip that episode then.
Things can end! Life doesn't mean anything if you don't die! It's okay. It's okay.
Okay, so back to...
Mortality is not a curse. One day you will die, and one day I will die too, and that'll be okay. It'll be okay.
For the record, for any gods and spirits that are listening, I am totally okay with not dying and becoming some kind of Z Super R3 Boruto mishmash of myself.
I'm really glad that this is being recorded because, you know, we could revisit that one in, you know, a couple millennia when you're so bored of all of this.
Yeah. A few Tarhausen gates from now, we can take another look at that dynamic. And maybe by then I'll have a new perspective on the story of a manga artist confined by a strange high school girl.
Oh, right. The topic of the episode.
There's not a lot of depth to this comic, as you can imagine. And the first thing that kind of struck me about it was how quickly the artist just punks out on the idea that there is any threat to this girl. He enjoys keeping the knife as a prop. Maybe she should just have a t-shirt with a knife on it. Maybe her COVID mask could have a chibi girl with a knife. That would be cute. Give it a little Pop Team Epic kind of look.
Well, I mean, I know why the knife disappears and it does disappear. I full on just stopped seeing it after, you know, like the first dozen chapters or so. Like it's just gone at that point. That was the knife was an excuse. This is not actually about being in danger. This is about someone taking so much of an interest in you, the reader, that they kidnap you, and isn't that flattering? And isn't it even better that they are this impossibly beautiful, you know, high school chick? Ew.
Normally, I resist the idea of being on a list. It sounds like a bad thing for my life. I do hope that everyone that clicked on this link that you and I both clicked and went through this archive you and I both went through is on a special list. I think that that's my public service. Going back to a nice question you asked earlier, the ratio... Like, how in the shit is the author?
I found myself applying an irony filter that I wasn't even sure was there as part of the text. I realized, oh wait, no, I'm doing this. Or am I? I don't know anymore.
Where that obliqueness comes in my opinion, is simply in its goals. Because it's going for this really naked, vacuous pandering point, and succeeds in getting there, is there really a difference between him sneering at the monitor, which isn't my bet, but I get it, or him being completely brainwashed, or him having $7 left in his bank account, my bet?
Oh yeah, he just, if it plays, it plays.
If it plays, it plays. To me, this is a creative long pass. This is someone just ready to start their career, ready to start their life, willing to draw some very questionable interaction between the generations.
Oh, and his ass just did some market research and just realized, oh, you know what they're ready for?
Yeah.
You know what this? Yeah, yeah, I can buy that.
You
I
don't
can buy
have
that.
to
This
be
is
a hack to create trash. You can be somebody that wants warm food, heat.
which hilariously, in a metatextual sense. Here's a reading I found. The girl in question, I think she has a name. I don't. Is it Kunada? I think it's Kunada, right? Here's my reading. The girl herself is sort of a because she's also like his mom.
Yep.
You know, it's nothing that I'm not used to. It's like here's a fun little reading. The girl in question can sort of be interpreted as a stand-in for the very manga that you are reading. Just in that she's like putting his fucking life back together. If we are correct in assuming that this was a dude who figured out, you know, which little like combination of Legos was gonna get him noticed.
I think there is a lot to that mom observation. Like, to me, this is viral because it is tapping the two most embarrassing paradoxes of the entire sort of etchy, sad romance spectrum, right? She's an underage girl. Mm-hmm. She's your mom.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the mom thing is the way bigger shadow in this in a crazy way. Because for all the gross high school shit that everyone should be imprisoned for just so no one is missed in the sweep, she is also your caretaker that bathes you, cuts your hair, manages your money, and cheers you on. And I can't stop laughing. All of those are little micro arcs in this fucking comic.
The fucking cooking thing is what got me.
Oh, man.
This is just like the little internal comments on. I actually. I almost want to say that it's legitimately good comedy writing.
When it comes to the cooking, so this thing's about 49 chapters. That's about right?
It's 49 chapters. Chapter 49 is the thanks for watching. You've all been a great audience.
Oh, yeah. Chapter 49 is when he finally caves in, or alternatively gives people their order. However you want to interpret it, but he just starts drawing nudes, which, when you remember the numbers of people involved in this, you shouldn't remember because you probably should have tabbed out by then. Whatever. But there are about 8 chapters in this where he still is running with the bit that his life is in danger. And she starts cooking for him because he starts fucking whining about the takeout that she buys him. Like, she is his fucking single mom. And I am staring into the abyss of the psyche laid bare before me. It's worse than if it was something wrong with the author, because I'm pretty sure he's fine. I'm pretty sure he's okay, and there are just a lot of perverse Marxian economic incentives we need to ask some questions about.
I think the author he's mostly just broke.
Yeah. But there is some David Carradine in Kill Bill, this is his commentary on the human race shit going on in terms of what he thinks we want.
It's funny you mentioned that because I kind of got a Prison School vibe from this. Like, Prison School is, to be, you know, very, very clear, is exceptionally antagonistic towards this audience. And even more so to the industry. I think Prison School was, oh god, I wish I could name the author off the top of my head, but that was him saying, oh, this is what you people want. This is the sort of like shit that you people, okay, all right, I'll give you the most thing you want you could possibly fucking want.
Prison School was pretty brilliant with that. I remember there was this whole phase. Mark Millar had like 4 years where he really wanted to tap. It culminated in The Page from Wanted, you know, the one where Eminem is looking at the screen and he says, sorry for the kids at home or whatever, I'm pretty sure we have one fan who's 12. This is my face when I'm fucking you in the ass. So I guess we're explicit now. Okay, so I was going to try to go for the family tag.
We were always explicit, like, since day one.
Yeah.
Who the fuck do you think you're kidding?
When you watch those Elephant Graveyard YouTube videos that he talks about the shadow self that's repressed inside of everyone, My shadow self must just be someone that screams fewer profanities. It's just all the sane shit that I never say on a day-to-day basis because all this nonsense is coming out. The point is, Prison School captured that wavelength that Mark Millar was trying to go for with "This is my face when I'm fucking you in the ass." And I think that this comic, somewhere screaming inside the author, is a desire to make either statement, and instead he draws the all-nude chapter in the end. So there's... God damn.
The difference is, all right, Prison School this is what the market fucking wants, and this is what the market fucking wants.
That's a good bit of voice acting. I think it underscores the point pretty well. The best, and you know how we use the word best here. Plot point that comes into this is when he runs out of mommy energy for this non-kidnapping high school student, his editor comes in to be their double mom.
She's like the college version of one's mom. Like you're off, you're neat in your dorm room, and like she's still your mom, and he's invested in you not being a fucking neat in your dorm room.
Yeah, she's trying to get you to join student activities. She's seeing if you're just passing your classes, not excelling, not trying to make salutatorian, just are you going to the lecture hall?
How's midterms? How are midterms? How are midterms with my fucking money paying for this?
Meanwhile, you are just shacked up with someone from Psych 203. You're convinced it's real. You're going to get married. Okay, depending on the state, you probably are going to get married. I had a fascinating conversation with a teacher down at OSU about just what percentage of his religion class students are just getting hitched halfway through the semester.
Oregon State University?
Oklahoma. Though I'm pretty sure, they both have a version of it. I'm sure they both lay claim to the acronym.
Yeah, my parents are from the Pacific Northwest, if it was not really, really obvious from the rattle. But they went to U of O, and I guess they fucking hated Oregon State. That was like, fuck those guys.
Okay, they had a nice blood feud to, inform the spirit, fill it full of light. They would dig up random Twitter comics and rag on them for 15 minutes. I can understand that spirit. I can tap into that energy.
And yeah, I don't know. Did they have the same acronym? They might. It's not too important. Let's move on.
But did you end up just staring at the page where the editor shows up? And she looks like every 24-year-old cast as a 40-year-old in a pornographic film.
She got a full color page. She got like a full color page, just to either bookend one of the chapters or whatever. And it kind of gave me all the info that I really needed. It's like, okay, all right, yeah.
It's a pretty special wavelength, and the longer this goes, you kind of grow this special relationship, not with the author of the comic itself, but with the main character who is an author. And two really special things emerge about him from my end.
Mm-hmm.
The first is the moment where I realize, oh, you are not an author insert. You are a reader insert, disguised as an author insert, so that a reader can laugh to himself and say, heh heh, what a silly man, I am smarter than. Now let me descend into my coom fantasy.
Is it that, or is it more, yes, the pact is sealed?
There is an element to making this kind of comic of cutting a pentagram onto the back of your hand, saying, Satan, guide my pen, and finding you have a full bank account for the first time in 20 years.
Well, and remember, there's someone else, like, the pact, you can't make a pact, with just one party. The reader's part of this, too. I really have to, okay, here's the thing. maybe it's hamstringing us here just a little bit because I haven't had too many conversations with, like face-to-face conversations. No bullshit. No one's hiding behind a firewall. We're like, I'm just sitting down talking to this person with an average, unironic enjoyer of this sort of media who reads it for, the intention that it is written, right? That's not me trying to imply, oh, I'm so much smarter than these people or I have so much better taste than these people. No, I just don't actually. I can't pretend that I know exactly how they engage with the fantasy of the media that they consume here,
It is a weird vacuum tube, I agree, but I have spent my time in the convention trenches. I have done the whole college breaking thing, which sort of exposes you to a very narrow band of very neurotypical personality types. I'm making that joke from the inside. Get off my back.
We both are.
I can give you, honestly, and it does show the variety of life, a very positive and very negative case study for the unironic enjoyer of this. There's a kind of person, and I think it's evolution. I think it is our brains adapting to the great wave of slop that was coming.
Are they adapting? Everything I've seen has told me that they're not.
As a consumer, they can walk through hell undamaged, and then afterwards say, that wasn't that good. And I am sitting next to him after he has put on 2 hours of the worst shit I've seen in my life. And I'm wondering if we're going to have to send him into space to fight the enemy as they fire those mimetic super weapons from fucking Cixin Liu novels.
It's funny just what you can endure when you've decided that you don't care anymore.
That's the thing. There are Zen monks walking among us when we go home to rage against the heavens or yell, she's still a cop. I know you all see it. I know. Oh, no. Fuck. I wasn't supposed to do that yet. December. I'm saving those jokes for December. What I meant to say. Fuck. What I meant to say. What I meant to say is that I, along with all other New Yorker writers, love Mommy Kamal. And please don't let her bomb me. I believe that obedience is brat. Okay. I'm done, I promise. Fuck.
It's okay. What's the less charitable reading?
I knew a guy who would always play it off as a type of joke. The attitudes of this kind of thing, enjoying this kind of thing. Why are you so uptight? Not everything has to be, the Mona fucking Lisa, and everything has to be Romeo and Juliet. Even after the other guy would sort of blink twice and go, that was suboptimal, but I'm glad we did it. He would say, that was not suboptimal. And then one day his graduate program had sort of this tell your story, like anonymous harassment trauma kind of thing, right? And there's a full page rendition of what has been, from his perspective, a star-crossed story of lovers.
I have heard this story. I have heard you tell me this story before.
And from her perspective, was very much not.
Oh, so here's the thing that's happening. This is the time skip that I was wondering might happen, is that I'm wondering how much of my mic is picking up the what I call piggy noises from my bull terrier.
Yes, that is Gemma. Gemma is a quality dog. I have decided that she's worth audio quality. We don't really need the sound to be good. And I think 3 people is a really good number for a cast. It opens up new cast dynamics. So yeah, me voice 3, Gemma, who is gently hyperventilating.
I mean, if the camera, not camera, what the fuck am I talking? If the microphone's even picking that up, I'm sure there'll be like one like at some point or another. If not in this episode, then perhaps a future one, because she is right now wondering why my attention is so on something other than her.
I kind of wish I could tap a mental space that simple. There's another game I like to play, by the way.
Yeah.
When something kind of sucks this openly, righteously, and badly.
Mm-hmm.
I try to tease out the best and worst thing in it. Because that helps me learn.
Wait, we're talking about this manga?
We're talking about this manga again.
It sucks? I don't know. If we think of it as one big joke, I get it and I'm laughing at it.
At least we're on the extremes of an experience. Where does that extreme come out the most then?
Say more.
Because I remember I enjoyed this the most just for itself at a moment where he decides to test the boundaries of his fetish prison and she gores him with a Sharpie.
Okay, yeah, that was really funny.
And this got me there.
What was it for me? I think I mentioned this. It was just the sort of long form joke of just her being passive aggressive through what she feeds him.
Yes. Subtweeting via food.
Like there's like the angry McDonald's at one point on one day.
And then I tried to think, okay, so he's got this pandering mission here. What's the low point of that experience? And to me, it's either 2 or 3 chapters. It doesn't matter because it's entire chapters. Think of an extended work. These are chapters of that work.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing his thing where he's using her as his reference model. That's the whole thing. She's helping him work because she's his reference model, whatever the fuck. And he spends his entire inner monologue questioning whether or not he should draw the panties. And I want to die the entire time.
I don't know, man. I thought that was pretty fucking funny.
You know, I think you have ascended. I think you've become a Buddha.
There was. Like, it's so sad. I haven't thought as hard about why that killed for me, but it did.
That was the heater.
It was one of them. I don't know. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. Maybe not for the correct reasons. Maybe not for the intended reasons. Maybe not for the any common reason. But I was. I don't know. My expectations were low from the jump.
I don't think you have to resist that impulse. Because that is the closest that we are going to get to maturing. I need you to realize that is the wellspring of personal progress. Is instead of summoning the 9-tailed rage dragon every time something like this happens, sometimes you just gotta learn to laugh. You know, sometimes you're writing your column and you find a comic from the 1960s made by the American Nazi Party.
That was... Yikes. To invoke a cliche, I guess, but...
For those of you who aren't familiar with the madness I write elsewhere, Odd 1900 Hot Dog, I found this old American Nazi Party comic book. It's much worse than this and does not have
That was one of the worst things I've seen in months.
But I think my immune system is just strong enough now that I remember the first thing I did was think, why does he look like Captain Marvel when he's a Superman parody?
I mean, because this guy's a hack. This is a hack. This is a fucking hack.
The last point that I wanted to get to, I mean, I have other ones, but the last big point was there is an exchange in this where him being good, bad, or ugly becomes completely oblique. And that exchange is when the editor comes in, and this editor asks him how old she is. And it really taught me something about art. Because the hack could have written this as like romantic tension. Is this Madonna and child experience going to come to an end? The Cashin could have written this checking off boxes. I must now endanger the high school love. Execute. Romanticrival.exe. Execute. Or the intelligence screaming at his cage, shaking the bars, spewing insults to Zeus as birds eat his liver every morning. Could be screaming, "Do you people see? This is someone from outside of everything that has happened so far coming in here and saying, what's wrong with you?" I don't think she can do, like, real math. Sure, she can brute force memorize maybe half the times table, but she can't just cross two numbers in the air, sort of drawing it with her fingers, you know? The dog sound is really amusing me.
Oh, is that? Yeah, yeah. She's like, she's decided. Yeah, she's just licking now. She's just licking my leg.
She asked that question, and I think all three would pivot this quickly. Before it can really settle into just how off-putting that hovering question for this entire misery light thing we've gone through is, they have to go through a fake date so we can get more material for the comic.
I was having so much fun with just how kind of antagonistic this almost was. Like, it's sort of like a, yep, we gotta. I know you don't want to, I don't want to, but yeah, like that, it's in the contract.
It's happening. We need to do it. If I don't do this, I don't eat. And boy, do I like food. I like Doritos, Taco Bell, Tostitos. I haven't eaten anything of nutritional value in years because I'm a comic artist in the 21st century. But this is what it takes.
I think maybe that's it. Maybe that's why all of this hits the way that it did for me, is because of just the sort of overtone of that's showbiz, baby, throughout the whole of it.
I mean, context is part of art. I'm kind of with you. I'm not even shitposting here. It just, the situation where something was made makes it kind of interesting. And one of the underlying things with the entire desperation Twitter comic thing is someone is stepping up to the plate in the internet maelstrom and saying, look at me, here's my shot, I am pointing to the bleachers are full of garbage, I'm gonna get this like rolled up bag of old McDonald's fries into that garbage pile, and you are going to eat it.
To me, it's like it's closer to this vaudeville element, where here's this performer who knows just how fucking sloshed the audience is. And he knows exactly what the fuck they're gonna laugh at because they're piss drunk and they don't know any better. And, does he think it's funny? If he were drunk, maybe he would. But he's sober. He's gotta be. Well, not entirely. He can't be entirely sober for this performance. But he's quite a bit more so than the audience. And he's just come to understand that, like, this is, it's easy money, baby. Like, what do you, like...
He sees those drunk faces and thinks,
if it plays, it plays.
Rent. And don't we all need rent? Except, I guess, you and we never really attached a monetization structure to this. I think we could hunt for food. I think that has potential. That's a growth path.
That is what I do, and then I find it at the halal cart.
Oh, I mean, that's what I do too. I mean, I go to the halal cart, and then I find a squirrel, and I hit it with a rock, and I drag it back into the confines of a Bay Ridge apartment, and I put it on a spit, and then I get toxic plasmosis.
Yeah, I remember. That was quite a week.
It was an entertaining time. Now, I think that is the general value that someone could get from, on this title I have memorized. The
No, you
story
don't.
of a manga
Fuck you.
artist.
Fuck you. Fuck you.
Sam, this is a very important, memorable title.
Okay.
It's very important, memorable. It is the
Go ahead,
important
go
and
ahead.
memorable title. The story of a manga artist.
Fuck you.
Look, I'm gonna get through this title. You can play this.
No. You're right. I'll shut up. Now.
Okay. So it's called The Story of a Manga Artist.
Go fuck yourself.
Fucking listen. People need to know I didn't make this shit up. They know I would. That's the worst. Okay, that is the worst thing about my reputation. By the way, like, you play these pranks and if people just think when you bring the weird shit out, don't do hoaxes and documentaries. People have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. Like, they just don't know when you're fucking with them. I get the same compliment every time, like, hey, I understand like 30% of what you're talking about, but boy, that's a really crack-a-lackin' 30. And I'm there snarling through my teeth like, thanks! I love your compliments! And then I go back and I make an hour-long piece of audio about a comic called The Story of a Manga Artist Confined by a Strange High School Girl.
Fuck you.
You know, everyone, it's Weeaboo Hell. It's a family podcast. It's a podcast we make for families. Because podcast archive trawls are for people who are going through a dark period in their lives, I should just talk about the show in general a bit, I think, on the way out.
Or commuting.
Or commuting, that's a thing too. It started out always kind of dealing with extremity stuff like this. At this point, we are kind of more, I guess, a broader scope. We just try to have fun with it, try to bring some actual insight to things.
Where I've landed is it fun? Is it fun to talk about for, an hour or so? Is the garbage thing fun to talk about? Cool. All right. Like, can we get an hour of it being fun out of it? Yes. All right. It plays. Is the good thing, is the Kino thing fun to talk about? Is there interesting things that I can bring up about it? I've got this little pipeline in my head about, various future episodes. One thing that I've kind of enjoyed last year? Whenever the hell is Oshinoko, right? But I don't really know that we're gonna do an episode about it because I don't really think that I have too much to say about it.
That's an interesting comic discussion-wise, because there is a worst-case scenario where we both sit down and say, so yeah, that was fun, huh?
Yeah, it was good, yeah.
Yeah, I like
It's just like,
sucked when her mom
like,
died, huh?
Did you see Kaguya? She showed up.
But yeah, we talk about good things, bad things. It has evolved from, I think in the first 5 episodes, I had this vision in my head it was going to be like a pure trash fire, and it could have been done. We're talented guys. It would have been cool, but I think that, honestly, you will never get me to say this again. Anime is great. It has a good hit ratio as a medium. It's the reason I do this show in the first place. Over time, I realized I wanted to capture more of that.
Yeah, I mean, Weeaboo Hell is other people at the end of the day.
Weeaboo Hell is other people, and in Weeaboo Hell, we are not the people being tortured. We have the flails and the pickaxes and the acid and the lava. And we're having fun.
If we're continuing the Star Trek metaphor, I think we are both the people being tortured and the people doing the torturing.
That is true. That is a very important part of this. I have a long history of self-harm, which is why I end up writing like 2,000 fucking words about a 1960s Nazi party I can't believe that shit. One day I'm going to be running for something or about to get married again, and that's going to come up.
I got nothing.
There's one last sort of a more heartfelt thing, because I am trying to mature a bit as a person.
What's that?
There was that whole thing with the CIA prank, and I had a bitter streak, and I used to say a lot on the show about officers of the law, especially New York's.
I fucking knew it.
And I was really immature, I was young, I was angry, I was a little afraid. I just wasn't really ready to like engage with this honestly. And I really want to apologize for dancing around the truth of the matter, which is that every member of the NYPD can tongue bathe my large intestine. Like, not like the small, windy one where there's like some trace of nutrition or flavor. Like, I mean the large one where there's really nothing but the love I feel for you and the work you do for the city. Really get in there.
Especially you, Eric.
Eric's my friend. Sponsor, in a way? I don't know. There's a weird thought.
Yeah, yeah, like partner, almost in creative partner, sort of.
Lieutenant Gordon is standing on a building, and who's being asked about escalation in this one?
I would compare the two of you more to Ed Koch and Larry Kramer.
Ah, man, what a city. All right. Really, though, thank you all for listening.
For those of you who are back, thank you for coming back.
Thank you for tolerating whatever this is.
Oh, for those of you who are new, if you find yourself with COVID or something, one of these days and need a week's entertainment, it's like, the archive's up on Spotify still. First couple episodes, I'm not too amazingly proud of my performance, but we get there.
It's fucking fun. Have you heard most of the podcasts out there? They start with someone yelling at their wife off fucking frame, and then 10 minutes of silence, and then someone remembers that the fucking audio is wrong. It's a bad scene. All right, Weeaboo Hell.
Anyway,
It's Weeaboo Hell. It's a
Weeaboo
genocide.
Hell.
Stop it. See you later. All right. I'm gonna.
Hey, so I was listening to some of my own comments in this episode, and I did want to add some nuance. So I thought it would be nice if I could just make a list of, local NYPD officers who I consider exceptions to, my statement about my large intestine, starting now.